Hello dear students, today we are going to discuss the solutions of GATE daily quiz Strength of Materials week 1 June 2025. So let's start. So here is the first question. The number of components in a stress tensor defining a stress at a point stressed in a stressed body in three dimensions are. Now this is a very easy question. Well, the question could have been tweaked a little bit to make it more interesting and tricky, and we are going to see both of them. So all of us know that the three-dimensional stress tensor is written like this. This is a 3x3 matrix, right? So how many elements are there in this stress tensor, right? There are 9 matrices, that is 3x3. But if the question had one more word, the number of independent content, suppose the word independent was there, right? So it is not there in this question, but suppose the word independent was there, then how many components would have been there? Now we all know that the shear stress exists in complementary. So tau xy is equal to tau yx, tau zx is equal to tau xz, and tau zy is equal to tau yz. So if these are not independent, these are same terms. So if we consider that, so the total number of components would be 6. There are 3 normal stresses and 3 shear stresses. So but it is the independent was not asked. So what would be the answer? The answer would be C, 9. Let us go on to question number 2. The bulk modulus of elasticity of a material is twice of its modulus of rigidity. The Poisson's ratio of the material is. Now this is a question, similar kind of questions has been discussed in class. Let us still try it once again. It's given that the bulk modulus is twice as that of the modulus of elasticity. Now, we have all read in class the equations, which are relationships between the bulk modulus, modulus of rigidity, Poisson's ratio, and Young's modulus of elasticity. Now, this is how we can write the first equation. That is E is equal to 2G1 plus mu, where E is the Young's modulus of elasticity, G is the shear modulus, and mu is the Poisson's ratio, and E is equal to 3K 1 minus 2 mu. This is where K is the bulk modulus of elasticity. Let me say this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Comparing equation 1 and 2, I can write this way. Now if I just simply rearrange, K divided by G will become 2 1 plus mu divided by 3 1 minus 2 mu. Now it is given in the equation that G, that the bulk modulus is twice the modulus of rigidity. So K is 2 times G, right? K is equal to 2 times G. So we can cancel it this way. So 2 is equal to this much, simply cross multiply and you get the answer. Mu is equal to 2 by 7. This is one of the very simplest problem that can be asked, but it's an important one. Let us now look at the quiz 3, question number 3. The symmetry of stress tensor at a point in a body under the equilibrium is obtained from. Stress tensor, what is it? What is exactly a stress tensor? Now, let me draw the element for you, right? And then we can discuss. So how many elements are there? There are 9 elements. Isn't it? There are 9 elements. Let me mark the elements. 9 just showing you 2. Okay? Or might be 4, right? Now, for the block, for the cube to be in equilibrium, suppose this is stress in x direction, positive x direction, this is stress in negative x direction, right? If I multiply with the area, right, this becomes the force, right? No doubt the force has to be balanced. No doubt the force has to be balanced, right? But apart from this, you have to understand that force is even balanced if the stress are acting like this, right? Still, you can see the total force towards the right is equal to total force towards the left. But you can clearly see the element is not going to be in equilibrium because the moment is not equal to 0. So if you want the element to be in equilibrium, right, it is not just the force balance, it is the moment balance. And once you balance the moment, so what is going to happen is the cube, right, the point will come under equilibrium. Now, same can be also shown for shear stress, right? So let us see, this was a normal stress. Let us see what if there is a shear stress. Now there is a shear stress here, right? Let me say this is tau xy, and there will be shear stress on the other side. Let me say this is tau xy on x phase towards y direction, and they are complementary in nature, so there will be two shears. Now the force is already balanced. You can see there is one force towards, if I multiply it by area, cross-section area, this becomes a force. The force is balanced. There is a force towards it in the upward direction, there is a force in the downward direction. Now to balance it, okay, now but the body is not in rotational equilibrium. To bring it under rotational equilibrium, right, this is what we have to do. We have to add a complementary shear stress. So yx, so yx multiplied by the cross-section area multiplied by the cross-section area. So ultimately what you have to see is that the symmetry, right, the symmetry is brought about by the moment equilibrium equations and not by the force equilibrium equations, right? Or one thing you have to understand, that if I'm saying moment, summation of moment equal to 0, it also ensures the summation of force equal to 0. However, summation of force equal to 0 does not mean that summation of moment is equal to 0. So what will be the answer? The answer is the moment equilibrium equation. So these are three theoretical kind of questions. So the question 4 is a numerical, very small numerical. Now, state of stress is given. Right? It consists of only shear stresses. Right? We need to find out the principal stress. Now, for this kind of question, there is the technique is that you need to find out, this is a 3x3 matrix. The eigenvalue of this matrix are the principal stresses. Very easy. The eigenvalue of the matrix is the principal stresses. So let us see. So the principal stress is the eigenvalue. How to find out the eigenvalue? This is something which you must have learned in maths, right? So we take the identity matrix. The matrix minus lambda I should be equal to 0. This is how we are going to write it, right? Identity matrix, we all know, right? 1, 1, 1, 3 by 3 identity matrix. This is how the identity matrix will be, right? Not 6, yeah. Come on, yeah. 0. This is how the identity matrix will look like, right? We multiply it by lambda, right, and subtract it from the given equation. So this is what you get. Now find out the roots of the determinant, right? What you will get is this something like this. Now I'm not going into detail how to solve a determinant, right? So solve it, you will get this equation. Now this is a cubic equation, right? Yes, if we had our calculator, which you generally use in colleges, right, the scientific calculator, we could actually find out the cube roots using that calculator. But otherwise, how we are going to solve it, right? If you don't have the calculator, how exactly you're going to solve it? Now look at the equation, right? So you see the 4 is common. Apart from 4, there is 2, there is 8, and there is 6. You have to do a little bit of hit and trial. You have to do a little bit of hit and trial. Now, one thing is for sure, that x plus 4 must be a root. That is also how you can do it. You can see minus 4 is everywhere. Minus 4, minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. Minus 4 is everywhere, right? So x plus 4 must be a root of this equation. So you can divide it by x plus 4. You can say lambda plus 4, and you can find it out that way also. Or otherwise, what you can try is you can do a little bit of hit and trial. If you get to know which one of this, and which one of this is one of the root, right? How? Simply substitute it in this equation and do the calculation and see. You'll find that the first root is 8. The first root is 8. Now, once you find out the first root, right, then by looking at the option, you can say it must be 8 minus 4 minus 4, right? So yes, it might not be very easy for everyone to just click how to solve it. You can try it. We might be also be able to solve it, right? It is not a very difficult one to solve, right? We can solve it, right? Anyways, okay. Let us now go to the next question. Yeah. Consider a displacement field. So the displacement field is given, right? So what is the displacement in x direction, displacement in y direction, displacement in z direction, right? This is already given in this question, right? So the normal strain at this point is, and you are asked to consider only linear strain concept. Linear strain concept. Okay. So what does linear strain concept means? Linear strain means, now normal strain in x direction, linear strain means that the strain in x direction is dependent only on the x component, right? Linear strain means stress in x direction is dependent only on the x component. So this is what you can simply understand. Normal strain in x direction using only linear strain. This is what rate of change of displacement with respect to x. This is the strain, isn't it? Right? So if you differentiate it with respect to x, right? So the y term, this is a partial differentiation, right? This is partial differentiation, so the y term does not matter here, right? So it will simply become 10xy, right? Now substitute the values in which point you need to find out. You need to find out at point P, which is 1, 1, 2. Now substitute the value of 1, 1, 2, and you'll get the equation xx, the strain at point P, which is equal to 10. Now, one thing to be considered, right? Normal strain in x direction depends only on the x component, right? So the y and z component are irrelevant here. And simply linear strain means the force derivative. We are going to use only force derivative. Now, just for example, so that you have it in your mind, right? This is not required, but still to have it in your mind. So what is a non-linear strain? It is also known as Green-Lagrange equation, right? So if you want to find non-linear equation in the x direction, right, it not only depends on the partial derivative of the component of in x direction, but also the second order derivative of, you can see, component in y and z direction, right? This is just for an example. Okay? This is just for an example. What you need to remember is this equation. So whenever you're finding out the strain in x direction, you need to take the y component and differentiate with respect to x. So now, if you know this, then tell me what would be the answer for this. What are you going to do if you need to find out the same equation? What you need to do if you want to find out strain in y direction? The normal strain, right? Using only the linear strain concept. What you need to do? So we need to take the y component and simply differentiate with respect to y, right? Partial differentiation with respect to y. That's it, right? So this is how we are going to write it. Strain in y direction, the linear strain is the y component, partial differentiation of the y component with respect to y. Right? This is the y component, 3x square y square, isn't it? Let us just cross check it. 3x square y square j. So this is the y component, simply differentiate as partially differentiate with respect to y. Right? So you'll get it as 3x square y. Now at point, which point? P, that is 1, 1, 2. Substitute the values. P is equal to 1, 1, 2. X is equal to 1. Y is equal to 1. So you'll get the strain at y is equal to 6. So this has been pretty simple, isn't it? So thank you. If you have any doubts, you can ask, you can contact us, right? I hope the solutions for the first assignment is clear. Thank you. Bye-bye.